What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a Wednesday morning episode of the Daily Juice Podcast. My name is Matt Peralta. You guys can follow me across all of my socials at Sports Talk Matt. And this podcast being brought to you by our friends at DraftKings. Okay, so bad night in college basketball. We opened up hot in college basketball. I was 3-0. I was feeling good. I was actually like 5-1 personally, and then things have not gone great since. So, gambling gods tend to humble you pretty quickly. The NBA play is not finished, but it's a 10-point lead in the third quarter for the Warriors, so I don't know what really is happening, but it's getting late. I've got to tape just because of where I am with the recovery. I really can't tape late. I got to tape this thing when I still have energy and I'm not really tired, so I'm not really making my brain kind of overwork itself. So I don't know what we did yesterday. We're 0-2 at the moment, but Warriors money line could be good. It's not guaranteed to be good. There's a lot of basketball left to be played, but Warriors are at home. They did their traditional third quarter thing when they came out of halftime and kind of got the lead and hopefully can hang on to it until the end. But Warriors money line is the only bet undecided. If we get the Warriors money line, we'll be down 1.2 units on the day. So it's not a horrible day, but it's a losing day, and it's a losing Monday, losing Tuesday. So still plenty of time. We had a winning week last week. We built the bankroll up nicely in November, so we can absorb some of these losses here. But we'll be hopefully turning the page and becoming a little more profitable here on Wednesday, Thursday, into the weekend as we roll. A couple of cool things, or really one cool thing to highlight. For you guys who have been with us for a long time, the Daily Juice Podcast is about to hit 15 million listens historically over time. Now, I was gone for 7 months, but primarily almost all of that, audio-wise, was me. That does not include the video. I don't know what our all-time, and I'm asking BettingPros, does anyone know how to do that on YouTube to see what the all-time watch number is on YouTube for the Daily Juice? We started that about a year after the audio started, but I'm trying to come up with an idea for us to raise some money for a charity, and I got to figure out how we do it, the way we do it. I got to work our way through it. It's a lot of legal things. It's different now. The podcast is on a different level. When we were doing it with TJ and Cecilia, making cookies in Chicago and sending out cookies around the country to raise money for the Ronald McDonald House, that was kind of like, I don't know, it was easy. It was lower on the radar screen for people. The podcast wasn't nearly as high profile. So we have more eyes, we have more people watching, and we have more responsibility now. So I'm going to try to figure out how to do this either by the end of 24 or the start of 25 to celebrate 15 million. I don't know if TJ and Cecilia want to be back involved with the cookies. We love the cookies, but it was a ton of work for them to do that. We took over their business for pretty much, I don't know. And that was back when we didn't have what we have now. Like, the audience is much bigger than what it was. Remember, we did it with 1 million and 5 million, okay? When we hit 1 million listens for the Daily Juice, we raised money with the cookie sale. When it was 5 million, we raised money for the cookie bake sale with our friends at TJ and Cecilia in Chicago, who I have met and hung out with and gone to games with, and I love them to death. So they volunteered. They told me when I was in Chicago in April for the Cubs game and my birthday, they said, hey, when you're ready, you let us know, and we're good. I don't know if that's still the case, but even if it's not, we are going to try to find a way to make some inroads here and to raise some money for some charities. There's a local charity here in Las Vegas that I want to raise money for. If you guys remember, the Ronald McDonald House is the charity I raise money for whenever I get a chance to, because of what happened to my daughter when she was 6 months old. If you don't know that story, I'll hold that story until we figure out who we're going to raise money for. But we almost lost my daughter at 6 months. So I am so appreciative. 15 million is ridiculous. It's a number I can't really put my brain around. 15 million times you guys have pressed play on the Daily Juice podcast. Just the audio. The video does anywhere from 5,000 to 25,000 views a night. We're somewhere in that range. So I don't know. We got to be somewhere in the 10 million for the video, for views on video. So it's really cool. And when I have back-to-back losing nights, it's like, oh, but that gets me excited because I get to come on here and talk to you guys and get to be part of your morning and Part of your, the stories you guys have told me, from when I got sick last week and whatnot, about how your routines got totally messed up. Like you and your kid drive to school every day, and the Daily Juice beat is what gets you guys rolling, heading to school. Or that you're listening and you talk to your dad about the picks and the plays and the thoughts that I had. And like, oh, Matt picked against Kentucky. Screw Matt. That was a horrible bet. It was. But those type of things. And you guys have a conversation with your dad about my picks because you listen to the podcast, you both listen for 10 minutes, and then you go and say, well, what do you think? That's awesome. People that just are riding into work and they have a 15-minute commute and the podcast fits in perfectly. These are just audio conversations. The video stuff is awesome too. When you guys are watching and you guys are, scrolling and figuring out what you're going to pick and play, and you watch the juice and then you go do your research and you see what I'm betting and you fade or follow my plays, whatever it might be. So I don't know. I'm feeling very blessed, I guess is the word to say it. I'm healthy. I had a really good day yesterday. My first really good day since August the 9th. That was the day before I threw my back out. And that started a 3-month-long just kind of spiral for me health-wise. And I feel like I'm kind of on my way back up, and I'm finally getting some footing to get myself really healthy. And to see the Daily Juice at 14.9 million listens, knowing that 15 million is coming, it's going to be cool. Stay tuned. We'll figure out, I'll come up with something, but I want to put that on your radar screen that we're thinking about doing something here to celebrate 15 million listens. And well, let's get the video number as well. Maybe it's 25 million. I don't know, something insane for you guys supporting the podcast. I saw a guy yesterday wearing a Daily Juice sweatshirt, and I was like, that is just, I don't know. It's very cool when I see people wearing gear. And I always tell you guys, if you ever buy a Daily Juice hat, t-shirt, hoodie, you can do so bettingpros.com/shop. That's where you can go and buy a Daily Juice, whatever, Daily Juice mug. Whenever you buy it, take a picture of it, and I will tweet it out. I'll put it out on Twitter because I think that's so cool that you guys are taking time in your own money to purchase something for a podcast that I produce and I have produced for, well, I've done it. Even when I left, I was still doing it. I was doing a daily podcast. It's been 4 consecutive years. Other than getting sick and other than being in the hospital, I've done the podcast for 4 straight years, every single night for the Daily Juice. This podcast is being brought to you by our friends at DraftKings and the Pick 6. You guys play $5. You'll get $50 instantly with Pick 6 credits when you use that code JUICE at sign up. Go and download the Pick 6 app from DraftKings today. And you guys can use that code JUICE at sign up, and you will grab a hold of yourself an opportunity to jump in with this $50 offer. $50 issued as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 30 days. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. 18 plus in most jurisdictions, but other age and eligibility restrictions may vary. Valid only in jurisdictions where DraftKings Pick 6 operates. Pick 6 is not available everywhere, including but not limited to New York and California. For terms, go to pick6.com. pick6.draftkings.com/promos. All right, let's start with the NBA. And so Celtics first half team total last night. I put that on the Discord channel. That hit. Tonight, I'm not so sure it hits. Boston, there's something up with the Celtics. The Brooklyn Nets have been really good for us. We've bet them 2 times. They've cashed both times. Brooklyn's 9-2 ATS on the year. They've covered 4 straight games, 8 of their last 10, and they're 4-1 at home against the number. And Boston is laying 9.5 points on a back-to-back after losing outright to the Hawks. Now, I would have rather if Boston have won the game. I would have felt more strongly about this play if Boston had hit the last-second shot against Atlanta and won the game. But they're going to be pretty mad going into Brooklyn. I'm not debating that. But there just seems to be something up with the Celtics again when it comes to a killer instinct, and they'll play great in the first half. So if you want to bet Celtics team total over in the first half, you can. But the total's only 218 for this game. At 9.5, Celtics are 4-3 on the road, but they lose to Atlanta as 16-point favorites. They lost to Golden State as 7-point favorites, both at home. On the road, they've been okay, but like they were laying 7 against Indiana and they lost the game outright. They killed the Hawks by 30 in Atlanta back on the 4th of November, but then the Hawks got their revenge without Trae Young last night. They got their revenge. I just don't really trust this Celtics team given what Brooklyn has done and how competitive Brooklyn has been. Against Cleveland, they were catching 12.5 on the road, and they lost by 5. That's a 12-0 Cavalier team that they covered against. Last time out against New Orleans, they were 1.5-point favorites. They won the game by 2. They covered there. They played the Celtics in Boston just a couple of days ago. They were catching 13.5 points in that game, and they lost by 4. Here they are catching 9.5. I'm coming in here. Give me the Brooklyn Nets at plus 9.5. And by the way, one quick programming note. They have asked me not to put the slide up until I am done giving all of the plays. So normally I put the slide up in between the plays. They've asked me not to do that anymore. So I'll give you all 3 plays, then we'll recap it with the slide. So just FYI as how this is going to go. If some of you guys have been used to seeing it a certain way, it'll change a bit. Brooklyn plus 9.5 for 1.1 units. Second play, Phoenix at Sacramento. Total for this game is 225.5. Phoenix on the year is 4-1 to the over on the road. They've covered their last 2, and they've covered 4 of their last 5 to go the over. Sacramento is 6-5 to the under on the year. They're 3-1 to the under at home. However, these two teams just played in Phoenix on the 10th of November. It was 2:30, and the game went over by 15 points. So we've seen these teams play. We've seen tempo with these two teams and how they look to score and look to run. And we've got a lower total, 230. It went over by 15 points at 127-118, the win for Sacramento. And here's the Suns. Their last game on the road was 228.5 against Utah. It went over by 3.5 points. Sacramento, the game went over by 15. The Dallas game was 233 and went under by 6 points. This is 225.5. We still would have gone over there. Against Miami, over by 5.5 points. Philadelphia, over by 11.5 points. On the road against the Clippers, over by 24 points. On the road against the Lakers, over by 11.5 points. And on the road against the Clippers, over by 4.5 points. On the road, Phoenix is an over team. At home, Sacramento is pretty much an under team. But again, because they've played Phoenix already this year and this last week, I'm going to play the over. Over 225.5 for Phoenix and Sacramento. And finally, to the college ranks, where you may want to fade this because I've not been good in college of late. Louisiana is up against Houston. The number is gigantic. If you want to play Houston in the first half, I don't mind it. If you want to play the first half under, I don't mind it. But I'm instead going to come in here and play the game under for Houston and Louisiana. Well, why? Well, the biggest reason is because I think Houston's going to completely shut down Louisiana. Houston's 2-0 to the over so far this year. Rare, okay? Really rare. Against Auburn on the neutral, they lost the game 74-69. Game went over by 1.5 points. At home against Jackson State, it was 136.5, and the game went over by 0.5 point. So, we're talking about razor-thin margins here. Louisiana's first 2 games are both of them going under, but it's Kent State and Dallas and Texas. Dallas, nothing to really grab onto really all that much, except that they scored 66 points against Kent State, gave up 70 and lost, and the game went under at 144.5. I don't think Louisiana, after this loss that Houston just suffered, I don't mind laying 28.5 points, but I think it's better just to say Louisiana's not going to score, and Houston won't score a ton. I don't think they're scoring 97 points here in this game. I think 40 points is kind of where Louisiana will be tonight. It's going to be kind of like a 90-40 type of game. I'm going to play the under for Louisiana and Houston. Let's start the run here with Houston unders because we know that's what they do. We know that's what they play. I don't mind, again, laying the big number, the 28.5 points, but I'm not really looking to do that officially here. Instead, we're going to go with the under for this game here at 138 for Houston and Louisiana. So, the 3 plays for us here today on a Wednesday: Brooklyn plus 9.5 at home against Boston. The Suns and the Kings going over 225.5. And Houston and Louisiana in the college ranks under 138 for 1.1 units for all three bets here today. My name is Matt Peralt. Follow me across all socials at Sports Talk Matt every morning. The Daily Juice Podcast presented by DraftKings.